Welcome, everyone. It is 6:06, and so I think we're going to launch into our um, workshop since we only have an hour together today. So I would like to have Dr. Lanisha Mackle Ridley kick us off. And I'll put up the PowerPoint presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Lanisha Makel Ridley. I am the co-project director for the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub. Just to tell you a little bit about the hub, we are a project of SPAN Parent Advocacy Network, which is housed in Newark, New Jersey. SPAN applied for a grant about 3 years ago to the U.S. Department of Education to become the statewide family engagement center for the state of New Jersey. And so we call ourselves the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub. We are a information hub for family engagement for the state of New Jersey. We provide technical assistance and online workshops for school districts throughout the state. And we do that through, a variety of ways, but we do that with three specific audiences in mind: families, educators, and community partners, for the specific purpose of enhancing student success for our students throughout the state of New Jersey. And just to say a little bit about SPAN, SPAN is a statewide organization with over 40 projects ranging from early childhood to family engagement to mental health to youth engagement. We receive funding from both state, region, federal agencies, along with nonprofit foundations. And we have been an organization that has been in existence for over 35 years. And we are working with other organizations to provide these services in the program areas that you see on the screen. And I will turn it back over to Rosie to talk more about today's topic.
Thank you so much. Hello again, everyone. I am Rosie Grant. I am the executive director of Paterson Education Fund. Paterson Education Fund is a partner to SPAN and to the Hub. And our work is focused in Paterson with a mission to stimulate community action for change so that Paterson Public Schools ensure that all Paterson children achieve high standards. We do this through collaboration with the district, um, with schools, with parents, with other community members, with students, and we have a very broad definition of community. We think that anyone who has any contact with families and children are members of our broader community when we think about child health, well-being, and education. After 42 years of doing this in Paterson, well before our 42nd anniversary, which we just celebrated, we've branched out to doing the work across the state in partnership with the Hub and other statewide partners. And our advocacy also takes us to the state and federal level as we do our work because we realize that Paterson does not exist in a bubble. So today we're going to talk to you about our college and career track workshop. We always start with agreements. If you've been to any of our workshops, you've seen them before. We ask you to listen to each other with respect, to be open-minded and accept others people's point of view, acceptance, suspend judgment as best you can. We're humans, and so we're just built to do that. And we have to be mindful and be deliberate about suspending judgment. Be curious, seek to understand rather than to persuade. Open up your discovery and question old assumptions and look for new insights. Sincerity, speak from your heart and your own experience. Brevity, go for honesty and depth, but don't go on and on. Of course, your own thoughts, reactions, and feelings, not those of others. Let's not debate someone else's experience. It is their experience and their truth. And so we will not argue with their statements. We can debate facts, but I don't think that'll be called for here in this workshop. And then also allow moments of silence and thinking time. So with a thumbs up, either on your screen or with your emoji, please let us know if you agree with these agreements. Thank you so much. I would also like to take the time to invite people to join us on screen. We would love to see your faces. This is an interactive workshop, and so we're going to ask you to share as we go through the workshop, and it would be great to be also able to see you as well. Also, one of our practices in workshop is a check-in so that we hear from everyone. So here is today's check-in question. We are going to pass it with a positive feeling, emotion, or vibe to the next person, and I'll model it for you. So tell us your name, and then the question is, or the prompt, if college was free to everyone, what line of study would you pursue next? So, hi, I am Rosie Grant. If college were free to everyone, I might do some more biology. I did accounting the first time round and have stayed on the business track, went into nonprofit management and fund development, etc. But I've always been intrigued by the human body and have spent a whole day, my husband and I, in the human body exhibit when we visited Baltimore for a week-long vacation. So I think that's what I would pursue, not because I want to be a doctor or any such thing in the medical field, just because I'm intrigued by the human body and still trying to figure out how all this could have come from a big bang. So I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you and pass it to Brenda with curiosity.
Thank you, Rosie. I received the curiosity. Um, if college was free to everyone, what line of study would I pursue? Everything. Everything. I have an insatiable desire to know. My sense of curiosity is one of my greatest characteristics. And so I would go from one topic to the other. I guess the very next one that I would study immediately would be world history. Like,
Hello, everyone.
how did we
Good
get
evening.
here?
If you and I are on the same page, because if I had to do it all over again, first of all, I would still be in school. I've got a bunch of degrees already, but I just love going to school. So if I didn't have so much debt, I would still be going. But I definitely want a law degree. I've always wanted it. I don't want to practice law, but I want the knowledge of what law could do, you know, because I think a lot of things, if we had that knowledge, we could stop a lot of things from happening. So, and with that being said, I am going to pass it to Mary Beth.
Mary Beth, are you able to speak? She may not be able.
So, did Kim go?
Kim did not.
Yeah.
I am here. Thank you. Um, so yes, I don't want to sound like everyone else, but law has always been something I was passionate about. Um, and because of the years I spent working at SPAN, helping families, that desire only increased. Because especially today, trying to make sure that we can help people get through tough times and navigate all of the current climates. It seems like having that kind of knowledge and the ability to represent others and to be able to make changes is something that I would be important to everyone's life. So yeah, definitely law. If I could do it all over again. Um, and uh, second part, I would learn how to feed large populations. I think it would be about the food industry and agriculture. Um, and trying to avoid all of the genetically modified goods, etc. Okay, and I will pass it over to let's see, did Brenda goes yet?
Brenda did. Linda did not.
Linda, that's right. Okay, I'll pass it to Linda.
Okay. Well, I
Thank you.
thank you, Kim, for that. I guess we're all on the same page because I was sitting here thinking about law too, but mine
Now
will be
changing my mind right now. It's like, yeah, law and government.
yeah, because
Yeah,
I would use it for with all the organizing that we've done, so that I could make sure that I direct our parents in the right direction when they need to fight a battle with the school system. That's what I would use it for. Um, who's left? Alexa?
Alexis.
Yes, thank you for passing it with good vibes, Linda. Um, I've always loved school. I've always loved learning. So I think I would just kind of continue where I stopped at, which is my bachelor's degree in interactive multimedia. So I think I'd probably pursue another branch of that, and accompany it with poetry and creative writing.
I like that. All right, thank you. Mary Beth, if you feel so moved and are able, you're welcome to type it into the chat if you can. I know that you're on a phone connection, and that's sometimes challenging. Thank you all for participating. Let me go back to our slides. So, wanted to talk just a little bit about what is the College and Career Track Workshop. We created this workshop many years ago to help our kids begin to think about and plan for college early. We saw that in Paterson, youngsters were going through school and didn't even think about college until their senior year. So we developed this student curriculum to help students advocate for themselves and for all Paterson children to be college and career ready. We've also used the same curriculum with parents, and it's morphed over time. And the video that we will use to guide our conversation today is one that we have not yet used in the college track workshop, but the ones we were using were old, and so we had this one created just for us. We will learn from the experiences of 4 successful Paterson alumni who took different paths through college and career. And that's something that we want parents and students to know. Sometimes it doesn't work out that, you leave high school, you go to 4-year college, and you go on to your master's. Life happens. It took me forever to get there, and lots of other people chose not to go to college, chose to do some different routes. When I was in high school, all I wanted to be was a mom. I knew I had to get a job to pay some bills, to contribute to the household, but my desire was to be a mother. And so I know that not everybody's looking at college in the same way. I just looked at college because, until I became a mother, I had to do something to earn a living. And being a mother too early was not going to sit well with my parents. So think about the various paths, and we'll hear about some of them from our friends and colleagues and talk about them. So we want all of Paterson's children, and in fact, all of New Jersey's children, to be ready for college or a career when they graduate. This has not been the case through time, and certainly not in our cities. We've had a lot of kids go to college and not complete it because they just weren't ready. So we want to make sure everybody's ready for what happens after high school. So it's life after high school, which for most of us will include either college or career or both. When we say college, we mean any institution of higher learning, including technical institutions as well. We also want all students to know what college is like and how they can best prepare themselves for it. You may not see that in this version of the workshop because this is the condensed version, but you will get a glimpse of that from what people are saying. And we want more people to become advocates for high quality education, regardless of what a student is going to do after high school. They should be educated to a high enough standard that they can have that choice and life doesn't choose for them. So we're going to use our knowledge and experiences to learn from each other. We're going to think about what questions we need to be asking about college. And we won't today, because this is the piece for the students, begin to build our college and career action plans. We did previously a workshop called Ask the Right Question, and we based the college track workshop on asking the right question as well. So we may ask you throughout, what questions do you have? And have you think about formulating questions? So here's the video, part one. We're going to watch it in 4 pieces. No need to take notes.
My name is Orlando Cruz. I'm born and raised Patersonian, and I'm currently the president of the Greater Paterson Chamber of Commerce. I'm also the president of the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce, and I'm the executive director of a local nonprofit, which is made up of property owners within the downtown Paterson Business District.
My name is Eileen Rosario. I am the Home Study Post-Release Program Director for a nonprofit organization who work in serving unoccupied minors who cross the border.
Karen Brown, and I am an attorney. I'm also the former Chief Municipal Court Judge for the City of Passaic and a former Municipal Court Judge for the City of Paterson, as well as I've held other positions in the community, such as the Passaic County Clerk and Assistant County Counsel and Passaic County Adjuster.
My name is Alvera Spencer. I'm a Family Service Specialist with the Department of Child Protection and Permanency for the state of New Jersey. I am married. I have 3 adult children and actually 2 grandchildren. And I reside in the city of Paterson in the 1st Ward.
So that's our first pause. And my first question is, what jumped out at you so far? Was there anything that struck you from what you've heard and seen so far?
They all had jobs.
Right. We haven't heard a lot yet, but you're right. They all had jobs and they've moved on from there because Orlando is now a county commissioner for Passaic County. Aileen's in a new job running her own program in Wessex and Passaic counties. And Karen's doing her thing. She's just fabulous. Alvera is still in the same job, but I think now she's grandmother of 3 beautiful grandchildren. Anything else that struck you? For me, it's that they're people like us. You know, they were born and raised in New Jersey and have been spending some time. The other thing that I noticed in this first piece is they're spending time giving back. They all talked about nonprofit work and community work, etc. Anything else? All right, I'll share some more. I see 2 things in the chat. Oh, it's a welcome. And we did get 1 answer for biology and geology in the chat as well. Cool. So I think that was Mary Beth. So I will continue to share.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
just always having an interest in working where I live. And it's always been a passion for me to be able to work in a place where I can give back to my community and also enhance that community in which I live in.
I worked at a nonprofit organization, and then I also volunteer at a local Catholic church as a youth leader, which really interests me in helping younger folks and being a counselor, which led me to get my master's in social work and be in the social service field.
So growing up as a child, I always had the passion for helping people. I love advocating for people, and I was also a very sociable person. I remember growing up that my mother would always tell me that I would speak to everyone, even strangers, and that I loved all types of people. During my teenage years, my son developed a condition and he had very severe behavior problems in school. And in order for me to understand my son's condition and his behavior, I decided to focus my education and pretty much my life on advocating for my son and also for children and families. My desire to advocate for families and children is very critical because I want them to be aware of the services in the community and also have the tools that they need to become self-efficient.
It was actually an incident that occurred during my freshman year at Rosa Parks School of Fine and Performing Arts. I was away at a drama competition, and the narcotics detectives decided to raid my house that day. They arrested my whole entire household, my 12-year-old brother, my mom, my dad. It turned out that my dad was selling drugs to support his drug habit. And I was a freshman and I was left alone in my house for days. And my mom would call me from the jail. We were poor, we couldn't afford any legal representation. So she ended up pleading guilty to a crime that she really wasn't involved in. She was a high school dropout. She really couldn't read and write that well. And secondly, we were poor and we couldn't afford an attorney. And I felt helpless when I went to court to see my parents. And I said that I wanted to become an attorney so that I could make sure that people had adequate legal representation and would not have to go through the kinds of things that I experienced as a child and the kinds of things that my parents went through because of the fact that they were poor and couldn't afford adequate and quality legal representation.
So, what did you notice this time? What did you notice about what drove them to their career or college?
Family background.
Mhm.
And life in general.
Yeah.
And a personal experience or an interest that drives their desire to get into a field or pivot to a different area because we want to make a change and we don't want other people to experience what we're going through.
Mhm. So I heard some passion, like I was going to do this because as well, because of what happened to me, or in Orlando's case, he just wanted to work where he lived and where he grew up. Um, Empathy. Yes, thank you, Alexis, for sure. There was a lot of empathy there, and it invoked some empathy as well when we hear Karen's story, which I am so pleased that she tells freely because she wants young people in similar situations to know that there is hope and they can go to college and they can be successful. Any other comments before I start sharing again?
Heard the mom, as she was a teen, mention that she wanted to advocate for her son, and that grew from there.
Mhm. Yeah. So we all have a story to tell, right? These people, they're special, but they're not special. They're regular people. And we all have a story to tell. And when we work with parents, I encourage parents, just like the four folks you see here, tell your stories. Tell your stories to your children and your grandchildren and their friends, whoever will listen, because you never know where the inspiration might come from. And because kids have fear about what's going to happen to them, even if they don't articulate it, even if they don't recognize it, but hearing our stories will help them. Whenever I see somebody who's a newlywed and very young, I encourage them by telling them, I got married at 19 and I still like him. And that gives them hope. So, whatever your story is, find the occasion to share it with young people because it definitely will affect their life outcomes. So, here is question 3 to the group.
Right out of high school, after graduating, I went to some college, had a baby, I had a son at a very early age, and decided to go to work and started working to support my family. Every opportunity, every job that I had at that time led me to another, and one thing always leading to another eventually led me to where I am today. Starting as a cashier in retail, then going into the banking industry. From banking, began networking, which introduced me to what a Chamber of Commerce was, working with small businesses, gave me the tools that I needed to be in the position of managing the business district here in the city of Paterson.
College was not in my mind because nobody in my family ever went to college. I thought that I couldn't afford college. My parents couldn't afford college. However, these 3 beautiful ladies at Paterson Education Fund convinced me that I was college material, assisted me in applying to college, and really pushed me. I started in the Passaic Community College. I did 2 years. Then from there, I went to Montclair State. And then I decided right after getting my bachelor's degree to go for my master's in social work. I was the first in my family to go to college, get a bachelor's, and also get a master's degree.
I enrolled into Passaic County Community College and I obtained my associate's degree in liberal arts. Afterwards, I enrolled into William Paterson University and I obtained a bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in women and gender studies. Afterwards, I also enrolled into Rutgers University in New Brunswick and I obtained my master's degree in social work with my certification in domestic violence for women and children.
I knew that education was going to be my way out of poverty. And I also wanted to become an attorney. So 2 days after graduation from high school, I was off to college. And after college, I went straight into law school. I thought that I was going to be a public defender. And then I actually ended up interning in the prosecutor's office. I was a little bit torn as to what I wanted to do. And then this opportunity came up from Passaic County Legal Aid Society. They were actually looking for a person to participate in a fellowship program. I ended up getting the fellowship. I was one of only 14 in the entire country to get it. And it was a wonderful experience. I ended up being honored by the president of the United States at that time. And I got a lot of exposure and I got to meet a lot of people in the community, including Rosie and the members of PEF. And I ended up becoming involved in the community. And I've gotten other opportunities after that as a result of being involved in meeting and networking with people and being provided with opportunities.
So a disclaimer here, they were not supposed to mention me or the organization. I was asking the question. So you'll see my face popped up a couple of times. That also was not supposed to happen. However, what did you hear this time that might help you or help a young person think about life after high school? What did you know?
I think it's important to have mentors or people who have gone before you so that you have somebody to model after.
Yes.
So I heard that. And I also heard when Karen said she went straight through, no breaks. Because I know people who have taken breaks and then they never go back. Life kind of gets in the way. So, really trying to have a plan of where you want to go and getting there, so that you can, make sure that you achieve the end goal.
I heard Orlando say life happened. So now he's head of 2 Greater Paterson Chamber of Commerce, executive director of the Downtown Business Associates, and county commissioner for Passaic County. I don't think he ever went back. So I think that's also, and he shared that, right? So that's also something important for kids to hear, so that they know that there are alternate paths to success. He took the business path. Experience leading to more experience, right? He started out in retail and then kept moving until he is where he is now. Anything else that struck anyone or that you noticed from that piece of the video?
Dave says growth.
Growth. Yes. All right, so let's do section 4.
My grandparents were very supportive in everything that I did, and my family had always been very involved in what was going on in my life. Their influence really kind of kept me on the straight and narrow path. Even if I failed, that my family was going to have my back in taking care of me when I was moving on to whatever the next thing was. But unexpectedly, running into individuals in that career path, and I'll give you the example of my predecessor here at the Chamber of Commerce. He had been and always was categorized as just a guy from up county that really maybe didn't care too much for Paterson people. And I had the fortunate, the benefit to work with him, work alongside him, understanding and seeing his passion for Paterson really showed me that, it's really about the person and not about where they are and who they are and where they come from. It's about the love that they put into what they're doing at the moment. And that person really showed me that there's a lot more to this than what meets the eye. And him, seeing in me, just a kid from Paterson that, grew up here, allowing me to flourish in a position where, ultimately, the door is open. I can now come in and really show people what I'm made of, what I'm about.
Again, my former employers, Anna, Irene, and Rosie, they really helped me just get through college. Always reminded me that I could do it. And also my parents. I think I get emotional when I talk about my dad, but he helped me all along. He was there for me. He even paid my car payment when I wasn't able to, because he wanted me to finish school. So once I finished my master's program, I actually started working as a clinical social worker in a shelter in New York. I became the shelter director, one of the largest shelters in the Bronx. I worked there for 12 years. And my last supervisor, the vice president, before he left, he told me, "You are more than just this. You could do so much more." And I took that and ran with it. And I decided to take a chance on myself and apply for this new position. This is actually a new grant that came in December. So far, it's been a great experience. Even the smallest person that you could think of will be that person that will push you to get to where you should be.
I have my aunt. My aunt is very special. My aunt pretty much raised me. She's a registered nurse. So education was very important in a household. I also have my partner, who is my husband. I have my pastor. I have my close family, I have friends, and I also had so much of support from the community college, also William Paterson, and also Rutgers University. But most importantly, I want to acknowledge Paterson Education Fund for the important work that you guys do and all the advocacy skills that you help families with, including myself.
Well, first I would say it's all God. I am a walking miracle, I say. I really, really owe a lot to my teachers in the Paterson public school system, specifically Rosa Parks High School at the time. They saw my talent and they helped me along the way. They helped me with my college applications. They drove me to orientation. They bought me care packages. They even bought me clothes. They made sure that I had everything that I need to be successful.
Do not allow your...
Okay, that was not the last piece. There's one more. What did you hear there? I think that was my favorite question and responses. What are some of the things you heard in that piece about who helped?
Community and support, for sure. They all had someone or a group of people standing behind them, from teachers, pastors, significant others, aunts, uncles. So just as Dr. Lanisha said, mentors, but I see community. Everyone had at least one person, even a teacher. So just the drive for the community and support. Community and support. Even the Paterson Fund, Ms. Rosie, they mentioned you. So community and support.
Thank you. What else? My piece with Aileen is her parents helped her, even though they never finished school. They're barely literate, but they placed the emphasis on her finishing her education, paid her car payment when she couldn't, so that she could get to school. She could keep the car, which she needed to keep going. So I thought that piece was a wow for me. Any other takeaways from that last section?
I think it plays into the whole concept of, every generation is supposed to do better than the last. So, like you said, Eileen's parents, pay her car note, whatever, but they wanted her to finish because they didn't. And so I think back to my own parents, and my grandmother made sure that her grandkids had the education, even though she did, but she put more emphasis in it if our parents didn't have it. So she always provided the extras. You need money for books. I know your parents are paying your tuition, but you need book money, you need cell phone money, you need this, you need that. You need to get home. She was always there. So I think it makes a difference having somebody there, or someone's there to support you and provide you with the extras. Like Karen said, somebody, help with her, get her hair products and, things, because you need all of those things to succeed. If you're worrying about your meals or how to get your clothes or whatever, then you're not focused on getting your schoolwork done.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Going back to our definition of community, look for help anywhere and everywhere. Look for mentors anywhere and everywhere. I was surprised when Orlando said his piece about his previous boss, because his previous boss was also my board chair. There were probably a lot of things I could have received from him, but didn't. So Orlando's experience is much different from mine. But that's the thing, just because one person doesn't mentor you or didn't mentor your child, doesn't mean that they couldn't be the right mentor for somebody else. So that is that open-mindedness piece and that suspending judgment piece. That's really important in our agreement and in our lives. Because if you ask me about that fella, I would have said he was racist, and I don't know why he's here. But it was just, yeah, and you would agree with me. I didn't name names, but you know who we're talking about. So that's why it's so important, right? The experiences make the difference, and how people relate to other people make the difference. When I heard that and I thought back, I realized there were some things I could have learned, but I was closed. I was closed to learning them from him. But then I find myself doing some of those things now, right? When he demanded we meet every Friday or every other Friday, I was like, but guess what? I invited my current president and the one before and the one before. Let's meet and talk regularly. It's actually a good practice. So yeah, we can learn even from people that we don't have the best experience with, and we're friends now. We're friends now. Now that there's not a working relationship. Anybody else have anything they want to highlight from that piece?
In the chat, Alexis wrote, the people who supported each of the speakers saw their potential.
Yes. Yes. And back to Eileen, who was told by her guidance counselor in school that she was not college material. She was our intern. She was our high school intern at the time. And we're like, wait, what? They told you that? So yeah, interesting sometimes that the people who are there to support don't. But thankfully there are others that will step into that role. So final portion. And this is advice that they would give to current
yourself to be a
students.
product of your environment. I think we get caught up many times being victims of what's around us. We oftentimes blame where we grow up, where we live, the people that are around us about where we are in life currently. And I think you need to understand that you are not a product of your environment. In turn, you are who you are at the moment, and you are in control of what happens. Well, I grew up on the same streets as you. I went to the same schools as you. I'm a product of the Paterson public school system, born and raised in Paterson, walked the same streets that you're walking now. And I am a living example of no matter where you are, if you are in control of your situation, you can make it in any environment that you are put in.
Never think you can't. Just try it and continue until you succeed. Failure is part of success. And don't be afraid of change. I think as individuals, we are afraid of change. We are accustomed to our environment, to the things that we know that we're good at. But at the end of the day, if you don't take that opportunity, if you don't make that change, you don't know where life could lead you.
Pick God first. You have to love yourself and definitely love others. I need you to stay focused. I need you to stay encouraged. And I need you to stay connected to people who are positive or who want to help see you grow. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid. But I need you to also take the opportunity to volunteer and make a difference in your community.
Number one, always strive to do your best in whatever you do, whether that be in the classroom, off the classroom. Have integrity, have confidence, and be committed and dedicated to being the best that you can be, number one. Number two, I would say, like my mentors would tell me, be a well-rounded person. You do want to get good grades. That's obviously key, especially if you want to go to college. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to be different. Volunteer. When the colleges look at you, they're not just looking at your grades. They want to look at you as a whole person. What else have you done outside of just getting good grades? Did you volunteer? Were you part of any organizations? Did you play any sports? I was involved in student government. I played basketball. I played softball. I volunteered at St. Joseph's Hospital. So when the colleges were looking at my application, you're not just looking at my GPA, because there's a lot of people that might have that same GPA. But how do you stand out? And thirdly, you have control over your life. It doesn't matter who your parents are or are not. Look at me. I tell kids all the time, if you can go into your refrigerator and get something to eat or put on a pair of clean clothes or a decent pair of shoes, you had it better than me. So if I can accomplish all of these things in my life with lacking basic necessities, then you can do it as well if you put your mind to it.
So, now what? I'd love to hear from all of you about that last piece. Character is king. You can't learn nor teach character. So true. Empathy for others and responsibility for the community is developed. Thank you for that, Kim. Who wants to go next? Dr. Lanisha, your past does not have to inform your future. Amen.
I like when he said your environment. Oops, I don't want to say it wrong, but like you're not your environment. If I'm paraphrasing.
Yes.
It's a big deal because a lot of times people put limitations on themselves because of where they are and where they're from, and they think that's their whole identity. But listening to all the responses on the questions, they all made it out. Or if they didn't make it out, they just continue to excel and continue to grow, and that's what really matters. So, yes.
Thank you, Faith. So, do you think this is a good video for us to use with our students? Could you see students being inspired by these stories?
I believe so, because they can see themselves in it. I believe.
I think so. I would love to see it expanded though to outside. I know basically all the people, so but outside of Paterson, to other town like Newark, Jersey City, down south too, like to try to because I think if kids see their own town and that there are people in their town that like Faith said, got out or didn't let their circumstances define them, and they're successful, but they turn back to give back. I think that they'll be inspired to succeed.
I agree. And I think, Dr. Lanisha, that could be a great product of the hub as we think about having these conversations with parents statewide. And maybe a better video, since, I did this on Zoom. So they were all in their little Zoom boxes. So maybe a better video as well. Higher quality video and more representative of our state. Thank you. Any other comments?
Can this be done in person?
It could be. Sure. We could have panels of people and just have them answer the questions in person. Is that what you mean, rather than
both?
Have people watch the video?
Virtual is awesome too. I'm more of an in-person person. So if that's maybe having an event at your location or even visiting different schools, if it's possible. Because I also like when Dr. Lanisha said different regions, because oftentimes things are done in the north and in central, but at the south. It's like South Jersey. So maybe a school or community center or family success center in different locations, but that would take, that's a lot, but it's just an idea.
I love it. And this first year of the hub, we thought about doing the workshops virtually or in person. They turned out to be all virtual this year. But I think as we move forward, we could do some more in-person workshops. It could be a session at the SPAM conference, pulling people from different places. So lots of possibilities. We can take this and build on it and run with it. So we're almost out of time. If anybody have any other offerings, please just pop it out. And I see Alexis has been busy in the chat. Brenda, do you see the chat? Could you read it for us while I go back to sharing?
Absolutely.
Please.
A couple of the things based on the video: love yourself, representation is important, absolutely. It might also be good to see youth of college age too, which I totally agree. Current college students would be helpful, getting their opinion and their experiences. And the youth don't just have to be in college, because success life after high school looks different for everyone. Thank you for that, Alexa.
Yes, thank you. So then we end the presentation with some resources for people to check out on their own, because we do share the PowerPoint. This needs better formatting, so we'll take care of that. And the one I do want to share as an end is this one, if it'll work, and it won't. I'm going to come out of, I didn't queue them up to be shared, but I'm going to come out of sharing and just copy the link. It's a TikTok video. And it's quick. Are you seeing my screen move as I go to different places? Are you moving with me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
People are stressing out over the FAFSA. You know what's crazy to me? How many people are stressing out over the FAFSA, waiting for the FAFSA to determine how much money you'll get and how you have need? Babes, you're not getting anything from the federal government. Zero, zip, zilch, nada. And the FAFSA doesn't award you. The college does. How about that? You need scholarships. You need to apply to scholarships right now, immediately, post haste, like yesterday. And not for nothing, yeah, it's April. The time on my wrist is telling me you're late, but it's not too late. Local scholarships, state scholarship, community foundation scholarships, D9 Greek scholarships. Everybody's got a scholarship for you, but you got to apply and do the work. Is that it? It's too much work? You don't want to do it? It's difficult. It's tedious. It's a lot of work, but you got to do it, because who's going to pay that bill? That bill is on the way. That tuition is due in July. Who's going to pay that bill, babes? Not me. We're debt free. We don't do loans over here. Elizabeth has $1.5 million in scholarships, refund checks in the mail, scholarship money in the bank. Don't you want that for yourself too? I want that for you. And parents, you need to be helping your kids. No man is an island. Nobody can do this work alone. Teamwork makes the dream work. Get busy today. So here's what you're going to do. Ready? Write this down. Email me for more scholarship help. Link in my bio. Go to my Stand store and check out my April scholarship webinar. Book a call if you're still confused and you need more help. Get busy working on scholarships today.
What a great message. So I'm going to end on that point. If anyone has any questions, I invite you to please check out the links in the PowerPoint when you receive it, and come again to our next workshop for the Family and Parent Engagement Hub. Any last words from you, Dr. Lanisha?
I just want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. As always, these workshops are amazing. And we can't wait to have you guys come again and join us for our next workshop. Everyone have a great night, and we will see you here next time.
Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.
Everyone, have a good night.